But I mastered that style. It's like the 5 deadly venoms. So all he had to do was get next to a nigga like that, and he could destroy him.
Believe in that, for real. We plan to take the same strategy we use with Death Row West, mind over matter, taking all our weaknesses and making it into our strength. That all these people talk about an East Coast, West Coast war, they like the Judas was to Jesus. They only here to cause confusion. We here to bring money and to bring change. They here to cause confusion. All these weak rappers, Nas, all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game. This ain't no game. If this was chess, we'd be yelling checkmate 3 years ago, because we've been beat these. It's not a game.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. I must come to you as Egoveli. Still I rise, M.O.B. Mob Fellas, Death Row Outlaw. So, Egoveli, I have to get this video off my chest. So, none other than Puerto Rican superstar Miguel Cotto is making some headlines, and I want to let you guys know what's going on and then give my thoughts on the situation. And basically, what Miguel Cotto is saying is his way or the highway. And he's been having, a lot of people in the past, they've called Cotto a diva, and I really like Cotto. I've followed his whole career. I've supported every event, different things like that. I'm a real big Cotto fan, but I'm a fan of the truth more so than anything. And Cotto's not doing a good job of proving that he isn't a diva, I'll put it that way, by his demands and just kind of his attitude. I was watching a video and he was basically saying that Golovkin, he had to wait in line. He keeps comparing his career to, I guess, the next man. He's saying, I had to wait, and in the Sergio Martinez face-off, he says, I was the B-side versus Mayweather and Pacquiao, so Sergio is going to be the B-side. And he's saying stuff like, oh, Golovkin has to wait his turn in line and stuff like that. And this is my thing. You're the lineal middleweight champion. And I'm not saying Floyd Mayweather lives by a different set of rules, but he's undefeated, and he's the highest earner, the highest paid. So he's proven that he is highly skilled and the cash cow, so to speak. Whereas guys like Cotto, great fighters, but he still has some losses and stuff like that here and there, and some suspect performances like Austin Trout, different things like that. So I'm just saying, if anybody should be able to dictate more of their demands, of course it should be the guy with seniority, who's, you know what I mean, the proven one, who keeps proving and proving. And I'm not saying Cotto hasn't proven a lot, but it's just like some of Cotto's demands, like Sergio can't wear a knee brace. It's kind of rubbing people the wrong way, including myself. That's why I had to come back to you as Egoveli. There is no other way. So let me read some direct quotes from Cotto. I had to do a catchweight at this particular time, and anyone who wants to fight me must accept a catchweight, or otherwise there is no fight. And this is Daniel Gill's rebuttal as far as the catchweight. I guess apparently Gill didn't even want a catchweight, but that was the only way he could secure the fight with Cotto, and for the opportunity, and I'm sure the payday and the exposure and the type of event that it would be, he gave in to Miguel Cotto's demands. This is what Daniel Gill had to say. I have to be honest, if it's not a title fight, then the catchweight is not a problem. But if you're fighting for a middleweight title, then weight limit is 160 for that fight. I find it funny. It should be at 160, but I'm not going to complain. So he's basically saying, I manned up and gave in to Cotto's demands because he's the bigger star, and I'm just going to eat it. And as you guys know, Gil Cotto was happening at 157. And I'm not even a big fan of the fight in general, but with attitudes like this, man, I just feel like, what's up with all these catchweights in the sport of boxing? And I'm going to tell everybody my outlooks on catchweights. I've been consistent. I'm not a fan of catchweights in general. However, they are a part of life in current boxing. That goes without saying, right? So what I do is I base it off of patterns. Like Pacquiao does get he gets crucified or scrutinized about a bit because he does it, and he's done it in many of his best wins or many fights. You know what I'm saying? From Margarito for a vacant title to Cotto. De La Hoya wasn't a catchweight, but De La Hoya late in his career jumped down and went down a whole weight class, and different things like that. There's a lot of weight stipulations in general with Pacquiao. That's kind of why he gets scrutinized, but he's still an A division champ, and he started in a much smaller division. But guys like Cotto, the thing that's bothering me is because his demeanor towards it. Like, it's kind of like, if you want to do the catchweights, I just wouldn't be making statements like this, because it doesn't I feel like Cotto in recent memory is not acting what got him to this point. You know what I'm saying? He has a deep resume. A lot of people sleep on Cotto's resume, from guys like Claudia in their prime. He fought Shane Mosley, fought Pacquiao, Antonio Margarito. He fought really everybody, minus like a Paul Williams or something like that. He pretty much fought everybody that he could. Paulie Malignaggi, Randall Bailey. The list goes on and on. Zab Judah. So that's what got him here. Just being a great fighter. Torres, all these great fights, right? And that's where he's at this point. But now I just feel he does act very demanding and diva-like with stuff like this, just making these statements. Now, I'm going to keep it consistent. Again, some people are going to be like, hey, but Floyd did it. Floyd did it versus Canelo. But again, I go off of patterns. That's not an established pattern. Floyd didn't beat all of his championship level fights with the catchweight. You know what I'm saying? That just clearly wasn't the case. And another reason why, again, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not a fan of catchweights in general, but this is the thing. When it comes to weight in Mayweather, it's not even like his catchweight is the only reason. Am I honest? I really feel like this. I feel he's a skilled fighter. I feel if he fought Canelo at that point at 154, he would have beat him at 154. Why they made the catchweight, that's up to them. I don't know. Both parties deny initiating it. Mayweather said that Canelo's team offered it, so they took him up on the offer. Canelo's team said it was only because of Mayweather wanted it, etc. So I'm not here to open up that can of worms. Mayweather already beat Canelo convincingly. But in my honest opinion, I feel like it didn't really alter it. I think the skills and then the level that Canelo was at, he struggles with movement and stuff like that, is the ultimate reason. Versus like other situations, like making Daniel Gill, who's fought his whole career at 160, he's 30 plus years old, him coming down to 157, yeah, I'm sure that is more of a significant advantage. And see, this is the biggest thing is, like Gill is saying, this is a title fight. How are you going to be the lineal middleweight champion and your last two fights, you got the fight or the title based on a catchweight? A lot of people don't talk about this, but the Sergio Martinez fight versus Miguel Cotto was also at a catchweight, and that's how he got his title. And it was clear as day that Sergio Martinez wasn't 100%, but take nothing away from Cotto, he did what he had to do. So basically, Cotto's last two fights were at catchweights, and then on top of that, he's saying that, oh, anyone who wants to fight me in the future, just expect a catchweight, basically. That's what I'm taking from those statements. I mean, I read the quotes to you. You guys tell me what you think. So the thing that I don't like about that is because, again, you look at Mayweather. I know some people are going to bring up that the Canelo fight did happen at a catchweight of 2 pounds, right? But do you honestly feel the fight would have been much different at 154? I mean, Canelo's young. He was young 20s, 22 or so. He didn't look unhealthy. He looked actually in good shape at the weigh-in. His body's still young, as opposed to like Oscar De La Hoya dropping down late in his career, Chad Dawson coming down to fight Andre Ward. Those situations are a little bit trickier when guys have some mileage on them. So that's the one thing. But just this demeanor for Cotto just is kind of shocking, because that's not the attitude that I feel that got him to this point. And furthermore, there's great fights at middleweight for him. So Andy Lee got to fight you at a catchweight. Peter Quillen got to fight you at a catchweight. The fight we all want to see, Gennady Golovkin, has to fight you at a catchweight. I don't know, man. I don't like catchweights in general, but when it's being abused, then that's just even more egregious. Like, catchweights are always a gray area, because I'm not trying to sound like I support them, but you got to help me make sense of it. Like, even if Cotto were to fight Canelo at a catchweight, I would understand that a bit more, because Canelo has never fought at middleweight, and Cotto is not the biggest middleweight. So if they both decided, hey, this is fair and square, let's meet in the middle, like at 157, it makes a little bit of sense. So I kind of deal with them on a case-by-case basis. I don't like catchweights in general, but when it's being abused, and then when you're the lineal champion, saying like Golovkin, for example, if he wants to fight you, he has to fight at a catchweight. Like, it's just, these catchweights are getting out of hand, man. And it kind of reduces, like, if you can't fully fight at that weight for anybody, if you can't fully fight at that weight, maybe it should be a non-title fight. because it's just these catchweights are getting out of hand, and it's apparent. I don't know if it's Freddie Roach, but it seems like Freddie Roach is probably putting that out there. He went to scout Triple G. He was in the crowd at the Monroe Triple G fight, and obviously his work with Pacquiao catchweight has definitely been a strategy that they've employed in the past. So it's just, man, it's getting crazy. It's getting out of line. Like, if you guys can't meet in the middle, or maybe even a situation if the catchweight wasn't like complained about from either side, they both liked it. Like I said, Cotto versus Canelo, they might both agree to the catchweight. You know what I mean? That sounds legit, because Canelo said he doesn't want to move to 160. So he would probably be more inclined to fight Cotto at a catchweight. And I'm pretty sure, based on how big Canelo is, Cotto probably wouldn't want him to weigh in at 160 and then rehydrate even more than that. So a situation like that, if both parties are in agreement, that's one thing. But if you got a guy like Daniel Gill who's late in his career and doesn't want to come down to a catchweight, and you're basically forcing upon him, like, my way or the highway, man. Catchweight or no fight, dude. You know what I'm saying? Of course he's going to take it. It's just like, at that point, I don't know, man. It's almost like blackmailing somebody. It's like a real foul strategy, because obviously Daniel Gill, he lost to Triple G. His stock hasn't risen. This is a career for him. This is his job, his full-time income. So, I mean, he's not really in a position to turn down any kind of mega fight, especially against a middleweight who is smaller. You know what I'm saying? And he feels maybe he can beat, and as opposed to Triple G, Gennady Golovkin or something like that. So it's just kind of like, you got him by the balls at that point, because why would, like I said, he's off loss. He hasn't looked spectacular in recent memory. So, of course, he's going to take it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times these fighters will probably agree to stuff. Like Chad Dawson called out Andre Ward. That's why I don't feel sympathetic, because he called Andre Ward out and said he'll drop down to 168. So Canelo did the same thing. Canelo said he'll fight Mayweather at 150. This is all provable. You guys can get on Google and look up these things. So in those situations, I don't feel as sorry, because don't write a check that your ass can't cash. If you can't drop down to 168, then don't say I'll fight Ward at 168. Don't say you'll come down to 150 and then complain about 152. And again, the reoccurring theme, don't make these catchweights a pattern. But Chavez Jr., Canelo, now Miguel Cotto, it's becoming back-to-back fights. Like I said, Mayweather versus Canelo, catchweight. But his fight before that with Guerrero wasn't a catchweight. His fights after that weren't catchweights, with Maidana twice and then Pacquiao. None of those were catchweight fights. But consistently, Canelo's last couple fights have been at a catchweight, versus Angulo, versus Lara, and I believe versus James Kirkland. I got to do some research on that. Same thing with Chavez Jr. Consistently, his fights with Vera, his fights with Fonfara, catchweight, and the same thing with Miguel Cotto. The Martinez fight at a catchweight, and then also his Daniel Gill fight is at a catchweight. And now he's saying, if you want to fight me, you want the opportunity, you coming down to a catchweight. So I just think at that level is getting egregious when you're doing back-to-back fights at a catchweight. Just drop the belts. I would rather have that. Let the Andy Lees and actual middleweights, Quillins and David Lemieux and Hassan Nadam, let true middleweights fight for those fucking belts if you can't make weight, or, you know what I'm saying, every single title fight is at a catchweight. Because to me, that's not a lineal middleweight champion. You can't, Danny Garcia can't be like, oh, I'm the lineal middleweight champion, but every single fight, even Danny Garcia used a catchweight versus Peterson, but not every single win of his was at a catchweight. He beat Zab Judah, no catchweight. He beat Lucas Matisse, no catchweight. You know what I'm saying? He beat Amir Khan, no catchweight. These are all no catchweights. So again, had he used a catchweight versus Zab Judah, versus Rod Salka, versus Amir Khan, versus Lucas Matisse, then I would say the same thing. So it's really, I'm not a fan of catchweights, but I'm definitely even more, because I know it's a reality, I'm not a fan of it being abused and the fighters consistently back to back using them. You know what I'm saying? Because again, if you can't make weight fully, then drop the belt and go to 154. There's Demetrius Andrade there. There's K9 Bundridge there. And there's Laura there. There's Canelo there. You know what I mean? Fight these dudes at 154. It's just like people want to have 1 foot out and 1 foot in and be teetering. Oh, I'm the lineal middleweight champ. Psych. Oh, I'm really a 154 pounder. Oh, welterweight. You know what I'm saying? And people want to like kind of float in between, like stay perfectly in the middle and like make their own rules to a degree. consistently back-to-back times, that's when it becomes abusive. That's when I even more so have a problem with it. Never been a fan of catch weights, but when it's abused, that's when I really dislike it. You guys let me know what you guys think of Miguel Cotto and his statements. Drop me a comment. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off.
Yeah, training camp been brilliant. So after I knock out Chris Algieri, I think I want to fight Mayweather, yeah? Fuck that, dude. Let me out of the cage right now. Just because I lost to Pacquiao doesn't mean I'm gonna lose to you. I have a PhD. That means I'm gonna physically hurt, dude. Fuck out of here, radical. Wow, Cotto, would you ever consider fighting Triple G Golovkin? I training very hard for Daniel. Wow! Hey man, are you serious? Yeah, right, Max. I know. Good boy.
Canelo, I told you I give HBO a verbal agreement to fight you.
I'm sure I will beat you. I was born ready. Like I said before, I just made $250 million off Pacquiao. Motherfucker, I'm rich.